Felix was the first child of the seven children of Madam Ngozi and Mr. Bola. They were a humble Christian family. Felix was loved by all the neighbors for his good character and cherished by his family. He was a happy child. Little did he know, his destiny was about to be ruined by the very person he loved the most. You see, even though Mr. Bola's family was not rich, they were not poor either. Mr. Bola was a cook in the white man's ship and he spent 2 weeks at sea and he will return the following 2 weeks to be with his family. Whenever he returned back from sea, he will carry foodstuff and other provision from the white man's ship for his family. They were very happy. Little did they know, great trouble was just around the corner. It all happened on a Monday morning. Bola had prepared for work. They were sailing that morning, and he was in a haste to get to the dock so that he would not miss his ship. That was when the worst happened. On his way to the ship, he got involved in a ghastly motor accident. He passed on, even before the passers-by could rush him to the hospital. When the news of his death hit Ngozi and her children, they were thrown into great grief. They cried profusely. They just could not believe this was happening. The news of Mr. Bola passing soon got to the captain of his ship. Everyone on the ship was devastated because Bola was very popular among his peers and had a lovable personality. The captain paid a visit to Bola family and gave Madam Ngozi 30 million naira for her to start a good business so she would have money to take good care of herself and the kids Bola left behind. With this money, the true character of Madam Ngozi started surfacing gradually. Instead of her to use the money wisely, she used a huge chunk of this money to get herself a nice car. She wanted to live the life of a celebrity, and she soon got herself a lover to take care of her needs in the other room. She did not even honor the memories of her late husband. She enrolled Felix and his siblings into a public school where the quality of education is very low. While she flirts with the money she received from the captain, she even packed out of the apartment they were staying into a much bigger house because of the gossip, because the rumors of her illicit affairs with her lovers was making the rounds. Ngozi was very happy. Little did she know, great trouble was just around the corner. Less than a year after Bola passed on, disaster struck. The money the captain gave to her was gone. She had squandered everything with her expensive lifestyle. With no more money to spend, she put her car up for sales. And instead of her to use the money she realized from the sales to start up a business, she continued with her wayward lifestyle until she lost everything completely. With the money gone, the stark reality of her existence began to dawn on her pretty quickly. With no more money to spend, her lover quickly disappeared into thin air. She had squandered everything, and she and her children were hit with extreme hardship. With no more money to pay for their rent, she packed out of their house into a much cheaper neighborhood, and all her children dropped out of school due to her foolishness. Yet in all this, she blamed her misfortune on some spiritual forces which do not want her good. They were faced with extreme poverty. All Ngozi friends who used to flock around her all deserted her. This made her very bitter. With the meager sums she had left, she bought some plantain. Every day she would arrange this plantain in a tray, and Felix would carry this tray of plantain on his head to hawk it around the streets of the community. But the profit from the plantain business was not enough to feed the family, and this made Ngozi so mad. She was very bitter and devastated, and Felix was the victim of her constant outbursts. Even though Felix was the one paying for her carelessness and waywardness, Ngozi was not appreciative of his efforts. Whenever Felix returned home in the evening with some unsold plantain in his tray, Ngozi will become very angry and fly into a frenzy. She would eat him while raining abuses at him. You, this lazy boy, after playing all day, here you are with so many unsold goods. You should be ashamed of yourself. She would yell at him while eating him severally. Felix was very unhappy, even though he was still very young. He knew his mother was treating him very badly, and he will cry most nights, wondering what he has done wrong to deserve such ill treatment from his own mother. There were so many questions on his mind, questions he could not find answers to. And as the time went by, life became even more difficult for poor Felix. Ngozi, his mother, was very mean to him. And to make matters worse, something happened that would change the trajectory of his life forever. It was one cool evening. A large shout of joyful excitement rented the air. Everyone ran out to see what was happening. It was Obina, son of Amaka, Ngozi's neighbor. He had returned from the city with some of his friends. He was throwing some naira notes in the air while his mother was dancing in front of him to welcome him back from the city. While he threw more money in the air, Obinna has become widely successful overnight. He even had a very nice car and wears really expensive clothes and chain around his neck. Ngozi watched on from her corridor as Obinna made a display of his wealth. She just could not help but feel a wave of jealousy wash through her. She wished she was in Amaka's shoes. She wishes her son could command such wealth and spend lavishly on her. All the same, she hid her emotion and rushed out to join Amaka to welcome her son back. Back at home that evening, Ngozi was very much deep in thought. Deep down, she knew something was not right. She had known Obinna from when he was just a boy. She knew how poor their family is, and she could not help but wonder how come he is so wealthy just after 2 years of traveling to the city. Even though the source of Obinna's wealth was clearly questionable, Ngozi could not help but want some of this wealth for herself. And as the days went by, Ngozi became very bitter. She was very angry and disgusted with whatever Felix did, and she was always comparing him to Obinna. You are such a lazy boy. Take a good look at Obinna. Does he have two heads? Yet he is so successful. It is not as if he is so much ahead of you by age. Yet he just gifted his mother a brand new car. But here you are, all you know how to do is to eat, play and get fat. If you like, don't sit up and take your life more seriously, she would tell him. Ngozi greatly desired to enjoy this privilege Amaka, her friend, was enjoying, and that was when she decided to take the bull by the horn. She made up her mind to convince Obinna to take her son Felix with him back to the city and teach him the secret of his trade. So the following evening, she went to Amaka, her friend, to tell her to plead with her son to take Felix with him back to the city so he will become successful like Obinna and help his younger siblings and take them out of poverty. Amaka smiled and told her, "My friend, you don't need to worry. Just get Felix ready. I will definitely tell him to take him along with him," she told her with a reassuring smile. Ngozi was very happy. She thanked her friend and went back home. Little did she know she was about to make the greatest mistake of her life. Back at home, she called Felix and informed him of her decision for him to follow Obinna back to the city to learn the secret of his trade so he can help support his younger siblings. Even though Felix was uncertain, he was very happy. The idea of following Obinna back to the city pleased him greatly. Little did he know, his life was about to take a very wrong turn. He thanked his mother while ruminating in his mind what life in the city could be like. Above all, he sincerely wanted to make money so he could take proper care of his mother and his younger siblings. And true to Amaka's promise, the following week, when Obina was returning to Lagos, he took Felix back with him. Felix was dumbfounded at the level of wealth and influence Obina commanded in the city. He lived in a big house at the rich neighborhood of the city. Obina welcomed Felix into his residence, but then that was when Felix made a strange discovery. Obina was not living alone. His house was filled with young boys, all busy behind their phones and computer, typing away. When they noticed Obina's presence, they all stopped to welcome them back. They all welcomed Felix warmly into the house. That evening, Obina explained the rules of the house to him. He told him that he was rich because he had found a secret way to scam some rich folks of their money, and if he was willing, he would teach him the secret format he was using so that he too will become successful overnight. How do you think I was able to buy this big house and amass such wealth in less than 2 years? He told him with a slight smile across his face. For a moment, Felix was silent, even though the business Obina was involved in was the exact opposite of what he expected. All the same, he was ready to do anything to take his mother and siblings out of poverty. And just like so, Obina taught Felix everything about the scam scheme he was running. Felix was very happy. At least now, he had the chance to become widely successful. But then there was more to this than meet the eyes. You see, the whole thing was not just as easy as he expected. The rich folks he was chatting with were not just throwing their money into his lap like he thought. He was trying his best, but it was as if his best was not best enough. Nothing was working. But Obina, who seems not to be doing anything, was swimming in money. Every night, he and some of his friends would go to the nightclub. There, they would throw loads and loads of cash around, with the ladies flocking around them, each trying to catch their attention, and they would come home with some of these ladies after balling all night. Obina and his friends would come back home and sleep all through the day, only to continue clubbing the following night. And soon, Felix started noticing this pattern. Even though he was the youngest in the house, he knew there was something Obina was not telling him. Obina was not doing any of the stuff he taught him, and he was spending recklessly, but there seems to be no end to the supply of his wealth. And as the time went by, Felix could not help but feel frustrated. He was not making any tangible income from this scam scheme Obina introduced him to. And to make matters worse, his mother was calling him and placing heavy demands on him. Felix, have you forgotten us? When are you going to send us money? Your siblings are all out of school. Even to eat is a problem. She will complain to him bitterly. All this constant complaint from his mother broke Felix's heart, and his constant explanation to her that to make the money was not as easy as it seems all fell on deaf ears. Ngozi felt he was just being lazy and dumb, and she would constantly compare him with Obina. You better sit up. Is it not the same work you and Obina are doing? Just last month, he bought a house for his mother, yet you are there just telling me stories. You can't even afford a bicycle spoke. Shame on you, she would tell him harshly through the phone. All this made Felix frustrated. And to make matters worse, Felix soon became a laughingstock in the house. Since he was not making money, he was not allowed to follow the rest boys to ball at the club, but rather he was made to do all the odd job around the house. He must wake up very early every morning to sweep and clean the whole house daily and wash all their dirty clothes. All this made Felix very unhappy. He had not come all the way from the village only to become a cleaner in the house. He had come to make money to support his family, and he was determined to make this money no matter what. For a long time, Felix was dejected until he summoned up enough courage to ask Obina the very question that has been bothering him all this while. That evening, with finger crossed, he decided to ask him this very question, unsure how he was going to receive it.
Boss, I've been here for some months now, with nothing tangible to show for it.
He started with a calm voice.
I have followed all your instructions, but none is working for me. I have been staying up all night trying to defraud these rich people, but none of them are responding favorably. After all these months, I have managed to receive iTunes card twice from my clients. Meager sums that did not amount to anything tangible. Please, what am I not doing right? I have noticed you don't work as hard as I do, but your weight seems to have no end. Please teach me the secret to your weight.
He told him with the look of determination on his face. For a long time, Obina was silent. He was deep in thought, with a soft smile on his face. After a while, he replied him.
My boy, don't worry. Just keep on pressing. One day, you will pick massive money.
He told him reassuringly. Even though Felix was not convinced, he decided to take him by his words. Felix kept on pushing, even though he was not seeing any result. Every December, whenever Obina and Felix returned back to the village, Ngozi, Felix's mother, would always ask him why he was still broke, despite being with Obina, who seems to get wealthier every single year. Felix would explain to her that to make the money was not as easy as she thought, but all this explanation only made Ngozi more angry. She will rain abuses at him while calling him names. All this made Felix feel so bad. Just like so, 3 years went by, and Felix was just as broke as he was when he came into the house 3 years earlier. He was totally frustrated, and one evening, with tears in his eyes, he fell on his knees before Obina.
Boss, please, I'm tired of being broke. I have been here 3 years now, but nothing tangible to show for it. In the space of these 3 years, you have bought multiple buildings in this Lagos, and you live the life of a wealthy king. Please tell me the secret of your success. I want to be like you.
He told him with pleading eyes. For a moment, Obina was silent. His face was stern, like someone contemplating a very important decision. After a while, he replied him.
My boy, you know you are like a younger brother to me. There is something I have been hiding from you all this while. The source of my endless wealth is not coming from this scam scheme I introduced you into. It is something much deeper, something only those with a strong heart could venture into.
He told him, maintaining a stern gaze. Felix was silent, wondering where this conversation was going. Anyway, Obina continued.
If you want to make this type of money I and my friends are making, there is someone I will take you to. An old man at the outskirts of town. He would perform some rituals on you that would turn you into a very wealthy young man. But mind you, this would come at a price. Take your time to think about this. Once you make up your mind, I will take you there.
He told him. Felix was in a daze. He just could not believe Obina has been involved in some dark rituals to gain his wealth. Even though he envied Obina and loved to attain this level of wealth, he was not ready to involve some dark powers in his quest for wealth. There had been stories, time past, of people who patronized native doctors in their haste to get wealthy, but their ends were always miserable, and he was not ready to jeopardize his future because of immediate gains. For days, Felix was in deep thought, torn between the allure of untold wealth and the fear of the unknown. In his confusion, he reached out to the only person he could confide in, his mother. Ngozi listened as Felix told her everything Obina told him about the secret to his wealth and his proposition to take him there. Ngozi was very surprised that Felix was developing cold feet. So what are you waiting for? You need to follow him down to see the Baba. What are you afraid of? Obina that did the ritual, as he died? You should thank your stars that he is willing to take you there in the first place, she told him, while reassuring him that there was nothing to be worried about. With this reassurance from his mother, Felix's mind was made. He was following Obina to see the old man. He was ready for whatever the outcome could be. When Felix told Obina that he was ready to follow him to see the native doctor, he was very glad. So the following day, he took him to the old man as he promised. At the native doctor's shrine, Obina told him the reason for their coming. The old man laughed hysterically while speaking some incoherent and strange language, like someone talking to other worldly creatures. After a while of this mumbling, he stopped. Turning to Felix, he started.
My son, your desires to be a man of great means have been accepted by the great Ikuku. But then, are you ready to pay the price?
He asked him, looking at him sternly. Felix did not waste any time in answering him.
Yes, Baba, I'm ready to pay any price to be worthy.
He told him his determination to become worthy outweighing any atom of fear left in him. The old man was impressed. He nodded his head and he continued.
I will perform some money rituals on you. You will lie on this coffin for 7 days. After the seventh day, you will become a changed man, and you will attract money the same way honey attracts flies.
He told him. Felix was very scared. The idea of sleeping in a coffin for 7 days was making him really nervous. He gripped the edge of the chair he sat on to hide his nervousness. Obina could sense he was getting afraid. He tapped him gently on his shoulder while whispering words of encouragement into his ears.
Don't be afraid. I and my rich friends have passed through this same process before now, and it will be over even before you know it.
He told him with a reassuring smile. Felix, though afraid, was ready to take the risk to become worthy. With trembling legs, he walked towards the coffin and climbed into it. The native doctor gave him a concoction to drink. He drank it and he fell into a deep sleep almost immediately. Obina knew the ritual had started. He left for home. He would come back after 7 days to pick up Felix from the native doctor's place. Hey, before we jump right back into our story, today massive hug goes to Samuel, watching from Ghana. Thank you for the love and support. Where are you watching us from? Type it in the comment section. I will really love to know you better and send you a hug in the next video. Also, don't forget to subscribe to this channel and leave a like on this video. Alright, back to our story. And for 7 days, the native doctors performed the ritual on Felix, and on the seventh day, Felix was jolted out of his deep sleep with severe pains all over his body. He felt very weak and heavy. True to his promise, Obina was there by his side. He had come back to carry him home. At the exact time, the native doctor instructed him to return. Even though Felix felt very tired, he was very happy that he too would soon be counted among the big boys and would enjoy the wealth of endless supply. But before they left the shrine, the old man sounded a strong warning to Felix and Obina, words that made Felix confused and frightened.
You must not come out at night. Whenever the sun goes down, you must lock yourself up in a strong room and only come out once the sun is up. And once a week, you must lock a lady up with you in your room, and you'll be amazed at the level of weight you will command.
He told him, with a slight smile across his face. Their return journey from the shrine was silent and heavy. With a thousand thoughts running through Felix's mind, he wondered why the old man gave him that condition. Obinna was silent, even though he looked calm outwardly. Inwardly, he was very disturbed. He knew the old man very well, and he knew his word must not be taken for granted. The moment they got home, Obinna swung into action. He and Felix went out in search of a lady Felix must sleep with that night. And getting a lady was not hard at all. The massive affluence Obinna exuded naturally attracted ladies towards him. They soon got a beautiful lady, a hookup girl. She gladly followed them home, totally unaware of the great danger she was in. Everything went on pretty normal until the sun started setting. Felix went into his room with the girl and locked the door securely from within. Everything felt pretty normal to the lady. Little did she know she was in grave danger. Obinna stood outside the door, worried and uncertain of what was about to take place. Meanwhile, he has instructed everyone in the house to go to the nearby nightclub to have a good time. So he was home alone with Felix and the lady. They were still locked inside. However, within the room, everything was going smoothly. Felix and the lady have had a good time and they soon slept off soundly. And as the hours slowly crawled by, Obina's mind was gradually coming to a rest. Nothing unusual was happening. He smiled while breathing a sigh of relief, and he opened a bottle of wine and he started sipping it while pressing his phone to keep himself busy and awake. But then, at exactly 2 a.m., in the dead of the night, Obinna started hearing some strange sound from Felix's bedroom. What started as a low growl soon escalated into a loud, disturbing sound like that of a wild animal. There was a sharp scream. It was the voice of the lady in the room with Felix. The screaming continued for some time until it stopped suddenly, but the growling and roaring did not stop. Obinna was greatly disturbed and very worried, wondering what was going on within the room, but he dared not open the door for fear of whatever was within the room. The noise continued, just like so, for some hours until it stopped abruptly and peace was restored once more, much to Obinna's relief. In the morning, Obinna went to Felix's room and slowly opened the door with trembling hands. When he pushed the door open, the sight that greeted his eyes was simply horrible. He stopped in his track with his jaw dropped open in shock. There was Felix, lying on the ground, totally exhausted and spent. The whole room was turned upside down, with blood stains on the wall and on the ground, with strange deep scratches on the wall, resembling that of a wild animal. They looked around the room, but there was no sign of the lady anywhere. Her clothes, now turned into rags, was the only thing left of her. A cold shiver ran down their spine. It was clear that whatever came into the room last night must have taken her. Also, there was a lot of money scattered all over the room and currency from different nations of the world. Felix was very happy. He was finally seeing signs of great wealth, but his joy was mixed with sadness. This money had come at a cost. Someone's life has been taken, and the words of the old man began to make more meaning to him. With this money, Felix bought a big house and got himself a nice car. Finally, he was living the life of his dream. He now had money to throw around and was always giving respect wherever he went, and the ladies were flocking around him. Also, he can now send a lot of money home to his mother, which made Ngozi so happy. But in all this, Felix was a very unhappy man. Every night, he would lock himself up in his room, but he would wake up in the morning to meet his room turned upside down and everything torn apart, as if a violent wild animal has been locked inside the room overnight. This made him so afraid, And whenever he locked a lady with him in his room, he would wake up in the morning to meet so much blood in the room with the lady nowhere to be found, with so much money in the room. And it began to dawn on him that he was the one turning into a beast at night. And this beast was the one eating the ladies. This made him so horrified. Out of confusion, he decided to pay his mother a visit in the village. Ngozi was so happy to see her child, who had now become successful overnight. She called her relative and all her friends to welcome her successful child back. Little did she know that beneath the innocent look of Felix was an aggressive beast waiting to be unleashed. So here bring the first part of this story to a close. What do you think will happen in the part 2 of this story? What will become the fate of Ngozi and Felix? Find out in the part 2 of this story. Thank you for watching today's episode from Anita Chocolate. Please don't forget to support me by subscribing to this channel. Also leave a like on this video and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss the next episode. Also don't forget to indicate in the comment section where you are watching from so I can send you a hug in the next episode. Also watch these other stories displayed on the screen while waiting for our next story. Bye.